And we're back. One more for the day, and then I will be done. And I've got a buddy here that is thinking he needs mom's attention. So don't mind me. We're going to have a friend with us tonight, I guess. I gave him his blanket to lay on next to me, but he's too busy wanting to mess with me instead. So don't mind the tail flicking in my face nonstop. I guess he's just going to walk back and forth and hit me in the face with his tail the entire time. He's like, Mom, no, we just need to snuggle. We just need to snuggle, huh? He's such a brat. Can you say hi? No. Nope. Not going to say hi to you guys. He's just going to get in the middle of everything. I'm going to do a quick 30-minute or 30-second countdown and hopefully notification. I don't know if they'll work or not. Can't win. I can't win with him today. He's a mess. He's a mess. Hey, Autumn. Hey, Cool Gamer. Hey, Brantley. Oh my goodness, y'all. He's getting into everything right now. He's like, let's just get into everything. Huh? You just want to bother me today. We'll get going in just a second, but Kiki, I guess, decided he needs attention. He has been so ridiculously clingy the last couple days. That's my pen, though. I like that pen. Here, take the highlighter instead. Take the highlighter instead. He takes Kenzie's makeup brushes all the time. We find them all over the house. He just carries them around. He thinks he's something special. I don't know. All right, so what we're going to get into is we're going to talk about children need families. For those of you that don't know what children need families are, it is an adoption venture. I wouldn't even say it's an adoption agency because that's not what this is. However, the further you dig into this, the more questions that arise. So we're going to just kind of dig into it, and I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I'm concerned about, and then we're going to just have an open discussion. I was going to do this in a pre-record style, but the engagement and necessary discussion, I think, would be helpful in this because they're kind of scrubbing some of this information. So we're going to hop into this topic and get going. If I can get my mouse from underneath the cat. We'll see. Oh, notifications definitely are not working. All right, let's get going. Okay, Kiki, please, for the love of God. He's like, what are you talking about, Mom? Okay, so Children Need Families does have a YouTube channel. They've never done anything with it, though, which is really interesting to me. Not really sure why. Yet, they do have one video on here. So if you go to the playlist, you'll see that there is 4 videos supposedly on this playlist. Sorry, Dexter wants in. Got to get all my friends in the right spot. You know, they all got to be with Mom. So can I have my mouse, please, buddy? There should be 4 videos, but 3 unavailable videos are hidden. I wonder why they would hide their videos. Doesn't make sense. But this is the Rossi family that they did and it left up. So this video is actually from 2019, March 27th, 2019. We're going to look at this one so you guys kind of have an understanding. Now, just to give some background information, Children Need Families was a venture of Katherine Ballard's, who is the wife of Tim Ballard. Going back to the whiteboard, for those of you that understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to do a whole breakdown. I've got Oh, y'all, let me show you for a moment right quick before we hop into this. This topic is so deep and there's so much to it that you can't just look at it from one angle. So these are just a few of the notes. My nail's still broken too. These are just a few of the questions and the topics. These are all separate videos. Every single one of these that need deep research, and these are just minor details. We're talking like, I'm trying to lay out the timeline and all the characters connected, because there's people such as Mia Long, Haitian authorities, government officials in Haiti. There's so much connection to all of this stuff around Tim Ballard. For those of you that don't know, Tim Ballard is the founder and originally was the CEO of Operation Underground Railroad. Operation Underground Railroad is a 501c that claims that they work in the trafficking, saving children. The movie Sound of Freedom was based off of Tim Ballard's supposed life as a Department of Homeland Security official. He worked for the Department of Homeland Security for about 10 to 12 years, is the claim. However, nobody's ever been transparent on that. Sorry, another cat. And no, if anybody's commenting, I can't see your comments, but who knows what's going on over here with YouTube. We're just going to go for it. But after they founded this OUR, which is a 501c that Tim no longer has anything to do with, they started all these other 501cs. Going back to the whiteboard, this was one of them that was listed on the whiteboard, was Children Need Families. What is Children Need Families? Good question. We don't really know. So let's go ahead and look at this video that they did and they left up about this Children Need Families, and you'll kind of get a background, but then we're going to go into some of the other information that I have found and some of my questions. So let's start here. Again, this is from Children Need Families, a YouTube channel. This is the only video that they still have up on their channel.
That's it. That's got to be it. Yeah. Hey!
Right.
First thing I want to point out about this is that's Janet Roussan. For those of you that don't recognize that name, Janet Roussan is the psychic medium that supposedly was giving them intel on these operations that OUR went on to save these children. Tim and Katherine themselves have supposedly adopted, allegedly. Because I'll be honest, it's really hard to find out if these are legal or not adoptions. So they adopted 2 kids, as the story goes, from Haiti during one of the raids. These kids were victims, allegedly, according to some of the things that Tim has said. However, there's a lot of questions surrounding this. Not only Tim allegedly adopted children from these OUR operations, but other operatives that were on these supposedly did too. But that's Janet Roussan, the psychic medium who was speaking to passed on prophets such as Nephi and was getting intel on where to go find these rescued or these trafficked children and rescue them. So she was channeling deceased prophets, supposedly, and then giving them the intel to go find these children. She also was a part of this Children Need Families.
This is the way we do it. So we're getting ready for the CNF raid. Hear the raid signals are going. So we're going to the Rossi family right now. They have no idea that CNF has approved their grant. No idea we're even here.
CNF stands for Children Need Families, of course.
And we're just going to roll up and knock on their door and tell them, Congratulations, your kids are coming home. That's it. That's gotta be it. Yeah. The most unusual raid we've ever done. Instead of guns, balloons. Awesome. Hey! Hi! Congratulations!
Congrats!
It's nice to meet you. Come in. We're actually here with a big surprise for you.
Okay.
Everyone, come on down.
So another thing you'll notice right off the bat, for some of you, you might not understand, but this is a pretty typical LDS household from the looks of it. This is an assumption. Of course, they don't say that. However, there's just a look that goes into this whole situation. I would 9 out of 10 times say that this is definitely an LDS family.
Everybody,
Tell Amanda to come down.
I want to meet everybody.
Okay.
So we're just in the neighborhood because we heard you guys were adopting children. And so we're just here to congratulate you that your grant has been approved.
Oh, wow.
And your grant, which we can give it to you immediately, is for $20,000.
You notice he claims that they were giving them a grant for $20,000. Now, supposedly, Children Need Families was the one giving this grant of $20,000.
To take care of pretty much hopefully the whole thing. And then in addition to that, your flights are covered too, to go pick your kids up. So there's I think $2,000 of Delta dollars right here.
It has just been amazing to us to watch God work through this whole process. It's been.
Well, we have felt that too, and we actually had it all set because we thought you just had one. And you added another child, correct? And so we got that news just barely as we were driving. So we picked up the phone and made some calls, and literally from the airport to your house, we were able to make sure we got the rest of it just like that, and we got it. So it was true.
Thank you. That's a lot of answers to prayer.
Says Children Need Families Foundation enables waiting children to come home to their forever family. Some children wait up to 3 years for fees to be paid and forms to be processed. Your donation eliminates that financial burden and completes a family. Visit cnfnow.org to donate. I encourage you guys to go ahead and go and look. Yeah, Mona, I'm sure they knew for sure. They film everything. So I encourage you guys to go look and see what you find when you Google cnfnow.org. We'll go ahead and do it together though. I'll put it in my little thing here for you, just to show you if you haven't already looked at this yourself. Oh, there's another cat. Hold on. Well, shit. Well, shit. What do we have here? Page not found. And look whose website that's on. Oh, you got your baby? You bringing me your baby? Come here. Bring it here. Bring me your baby. Bring me your baby. Hold on, you guys. They know that I've been like completely in a funk, so they have been all bugging and bugging and bugging. Here, I got your baby. I got your baby for you. This is what they carry around in their mouths and cry about. Anyways, why would cnfnow.org take you back to OUR? Anybody answer that? Hi, Luna. Hey, it is what it is. Yes, yes. Yeah, she's been doing great. It is what it is. She definitely has a different twist on things too. It's really interesting to see a lot of people jump into this topic because so many people like I got a lot of shit when I started covering this. People were so mad when I started criticizing the Sound of Freedom. I don't care at all. But now people are starting to connect it further and further and further. And it's really nice to hear people outside of the Mormon church talk about this because they keep polarizing this topic with LDS versus non-LDS, and it's a bigger issue than that. But anyways, CNF, Children Need Families, was a 501c venture of Katherine Ballard's. Why would that website be down and it takes you to a broken link on OUR? Anybody have any observations here on this? Autumn, are you still here? Doesn't that seem a little funny to you guys? Kind of did to me. It kind of seems a little odd. Okay, so now what we're going to go into is this next tab here. So one of OUR's big things, as you all know, is it's a fundraising machine. They raise millions of dollars and they have been funneling money through all these 501cs. Again, Children Need Families was supposedly its own 501c off of OUR, under the OUR umbrella. But it was supposed to be completely separate from OUR. And we've heard people like Jimmy Rex say that they've gone on these quote unquote raids, as we just heard Tim Ballard call them, to surprise families with $20,000 grants. But I could swear that they were claiming that the LDS church had something to do with the money getting sent to these families. Another thing, SoFlo. Yeah, that's a deep one. Yeah, Autumn, shady. Things are just disappearing. Hey, Shopaholic. But we're going to look at this because this I found to be really interesting. So this is from the blog called Mayband. I don't know much about them in general, but they did an article in 2022, March 3rd, 2022. Now, dates are important. So, and I am, just so you guys know, I am working on a full timeline of events of like when these organizations started, who was in charge of the organizations, because there's about 10 501cs that build off of all of this stuff that have other people connected. There's political parties affected or involved. There's wealthy people involved. There are so many characters and so many pieces of this story. Nothing is straightforward. So in my research, trying to figure out like, what is Children Need Families, right? Because from all of the stories Tim has told, he rescued these children. They needed adoption. They adopted these children from Haiti. All of these stories that he's told as a part of his heroic background, right? So I started looking at this, and I'm going to read this to you guys, and we're going to talk about it. This is about Children Need Families that was written March 3rd, 2022. Statistics show that every child living outside of the structure of a family is at higher risk for exploitation and/or trafficking than a child with a family. Okay. At the same time, adoptions can be emotionally and financially draining for all involved. Yes, they can. Adopting parents often take a second or a third job. Fundraisers, car washes, and yard sales are typically part of the narrative of a family trying to save enough money to bring their children home and complete an adoption. Okay. A special project to Operation Underground Railroad, OUR, Children Need Families Foundation, was created almost overnight. In response to this tremendous need for support, CNF is a preventative project of OUR to further combat the exploitation of children by helping them to find the most stable and healthy environment for growth of family. CNF facilitates funding for adoptions and is committed to working in the countries from which OUR and law enforcement partners rescue children. Anything sound a little fishy to you guys in that? Anybody else catch what I'm catching? Autumn already did. That to me stood out. CNF is a preventative project of OUR to further combat the exploitation of children by helping them to find the most stable and healthy environment for growth of family. CNF facilitates funding for adoptions and is committed to working in the countries from which OUR and law enforcement partners rescue children. You know how impossible it is to find out what countries these children have been adopted from? You know how impossible it is to find out if these adoptions were legal? It's almost impossible at this point. I am running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. But let's continue for a moment. Sorry, y'all, my sinuses are so messed up. That's part of the reason why I've been like, ugh. So I'm like dry and I'm drinking a lot. But as the parents of 7 children, Katherine and Tim Ballard, founder of OUR, no longer a part of OUR, did not realize they still had additions to be made to their household. During a trip to Haiti, Tim met a brother and a sister who were meant to become part of their large family. Just months into the adoption process, Katherine felt inspired to help more children unite sooner rather than later with their adoptive families. After the 3-year process, she learned firsthand how waiting children and families were kept separated not only by distance, but by expenses, government approvals, legal fees, and forms. Okay. Katherine is passionate about adoption. She desires all children to have stability of a loving family, whether that is through a kinship placement, domestic or international adoption. Katherine and the CNF team work together to fulfill the mission of CNF and prevent further exploitation of children and youth through adoption efforts. Katherine often speaks on behalf of CNF and presents individuals and families with their grant award. All right, no big deal, right? Oh, thank you so much, Vic. Thank you. Right, Shopaholic? Sell the kids before. Yeah, there's something here. Something is weird here. Just wait, though. It gets even more interesting. Thanks, Vic, again. Children Need Families has assisted 140 families, awarded 145 grants, and collaborated with 7 agencies. Okay, let's break those numbers apart. 140 families, awarded 145 grants, which we don't know how much these grants were for. The one that we just watched was, according to them, $20,000. According to Jimmy Rex's interview, they paid $20,000 for a child. I mean, his words, not mine. And collaborated with 7 agencies. What agencies? What agencies? I've got questions. A total of 223 children have either come home or in the process of coming home because of donors, volunteers, and partners of CNF. They continue to offer support in all aspects of finding homes for children. Well, hold on though, because if we go over here and look up cnfnow.org, it's a broken link on OUR. CNF is scrubbing their videos off their YouTube channel. So we have 223 children out here that they claim they've helped, 145 grants that were given. Remember, this was 2022. In 2021, I'll get there just a second. Well, I'll wait because the math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing here. Okay, let's go back to this. So let's watch one of their highlight reels, okay? You guys still see that? Yeah, you can. Well, shit. Shocker. Guess whose adoption reel this is? Well, no other than Tim Ballard's himself. Tim and Katherine seem to have thought they were going to be the next reality TV family. I mean, I guess it's typical for everybody that's adopting to just take a camera crew and record all of these sizzle reels, right? And these are some of the other families. So it started off with Tim's own children. That was Tim and his family. You can see all that. He's got it posted everywhere, his adoption story of the 2 kids that they adopted from Haiti. However, they go into all these other families, right? I also want to know how many of these families are LDS. I would venture to say that over 75% of these families are LDS members. Granted, they're not transparent about anything, so I don't know how we would ever find out. And we have no idea where these kids were actually being adopted from because, again, there's no transparency whatsoever. But they used all of this information to fundraise. And by the way, it's also in Utah, it's illegal to fundraise on behalf of fabricated information or using falsified information. Just a side note, too. But maybe these were all legal. I have no idea. I'm just saying, in my opinion, something seems really fishy here because why did an agency that was doing so great and providing all these grants, all of a sudden their links are broken and they're scrubbing their information off the internet? It's weird. I want to go back to that one right there. I want to pause right here if I can. If I can do it. I didn't get it fast enough. Hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay. Check that out. Visit childrenneedfamilies.org to learn more. Let's try it again. Let's try that one. Children need families.org. Let's see where that takes us. Oh shit. Guess where we went back to? Oh, another broken link. Back to OUR. Huh. What? Why is that? Why are they getting rid of everything? I'm not understanding. Okay, let's continue on reading. Make sure you guys can see it again. Okay. Each year, Mayban chooses a nonprofit for our charitable campaign. At that time, we donate the charity of choice $1 for every Mayban pregnancy belly band sold that year. As a company, Mayban has donated to Operation Underground Railroad several times in the past and highlighted their efforts by donating to them for our 2020 charitable campaign. They rely 100% on donations in order to do their work saving children. In donating to OUR, we became aware of their special project, Children Need Families. They have inspired us to choose them as the recipient for our 2021 charitable campaign. For every Mayband sold in 2021, we donated $1 to CNF to further assist children and families. We invite you to join us in supporting them by sharing their information, following and supporting them on social media, attending their events, and becoming a volunteer or sponsor. So right here it says, children need families. Every child deserves the security of a stable, loving family. As a project of Operation Underground Railroad, CNF is committed to efforts that benefit at-risk children and youth across the globe. Those efforts include adoption grants, collaborations, and outreach. Can you guys see those links? You might not be able to see them very well on your screen because they're in like a light mint. But the first one is OUR for their website. The second one is the Facebook page for OUR. The third is Tim Ballard's official Facebook page. The fourth is OUR's Instagram profile. And the fifth happens to be Instagram of Tim Ballard. Well, let's go ahead over to Tim Ballard's Instagram page for a second here. Can you guys see this? Okay. Yes, you can. All right. So this happens to be one of their Rise Up events. This was actually hosted in St. George, Utah. This was done at 2021, July 30th. So you can see they're doing an organization, blah, 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 Rise Up for Children, yada, yada, yada. Of course, there's sound to some of them. I'll turn it on in a minute. You know, he's big promotion, more TV stuff, got to show off. This was all fundraising stuff. Yeah. And it goes on and on and on. Oh, by the way, this is, this man right here is Gardy Marty's father. I think it's his father. He's the one that owns or heads the orphanage, but I'm positive that's Gardy's father or grandfather. One of the two. I'll find details. But that was what's kicked off all of this stuff to begin with, was the search for Gardy Marty. Oh, wouldn't you know? Here comes Timmy boy. Timmy boy. Timmy on a private jet showing up to this event. But guess what? He's not alone. Guess who's with him? Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes. Now, tell me this isn't all ego-driven. I mean, I don't know many people that show up in private jets to a fundraising event. Tell me you're a little out of touch with reality. Mind you, this was also called the Super Spreader event because this was during COVID, and it was really close proximity. Again, you can have your takes on that, but it was ordered to wear masks, and none of them did. Oh, Sean has one on.
For former United States Special Agent Timothy Ballard.
Don't worry, this is going to tie in here in a second. So there's Sean Reyes, and of course there's a camera crew. And God, don't care about that. Here they go with their little march, you know, children are not for sale, all of the hype around this. But just wait, there's a certain part I want us to get to. Take notice, he is really blonde in this clip. If you haven't read through the court documents, we're going to do that tomorrow. We're going to read from start to finish. Okay, there he is again. Oh, Big Tim on the stage. There's Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck coming off.
We've been able.
But this right here, my friends, is why we're doing this. Okay, pay close attention to what is said in this next clip. This is from 2021.
Today, we've been able to place grants for over 110 children.
So July 30th, 2021, he says 110 grants. Let me back that up one more time so we can see that.
Today, we've been able to place grants for over 110 children to go home. Oh, here's it. So I'm going to explain to you what Children Need Families is, why she founded it, and what we're.
But they cut that out. They cut out what she actually had to say. So we go from 110, July 30th, 2021, to the next article, March 3rd of 2022, and there's 223 children, 145 grants. The math ain't mathin', y'all. And I broke down the 501c. I went to ProPublica. That's the other thing. I would encourage you guys to go to the ProPublica, because I figured, OUR shouldn't be the one funneling this money through. Children Need Families should have been its own 501c3 with its own everything going in. Things aren't making sense. And then according to sources that are close to Tim and have been speaking out, they went along on some of these raids to give the grants to the family for $20,000, but yet said that some of that money was coming from the LDS church. So where is the donors' money that people are donating for these raids and these families? Where is that money going? Oh, wait, did it go into OUR's pockets? I mean, Tim Ballard's pockets? I mean, Katherine Ballard's pockets? And where were these kids adopted from? Were they legal adoptions? According to UNICEF, Haiti is one of the biggest areas of orphanages that millions of dollars are put into the orphanages in Haiti by Americans. But why was Tim spending so much time in Haiti? And why are they scrubbing everything of Children Need Families from OUR? Did he actually adopt him, though? Are they legal adoptions, Shannon? Do we know? Let me go over here again and show you guys this one more time, just in case you guys are just coming in. When you go in, so Children Need Families now.org is supposedly the website for this. Yeah, Autumn. But where's that money going through? And whose money is that? And are these only LDS families that are getting these grants? And what countries are they coming from? You wouldn't think it would be that hard to be transparent, especially when you're funding adoptions, right? This is something to be proud of. You're rescuing children. You're helping all these families. Children Need Families actually belongs to OUR. It's a preventative measure of OURs. Katherine became the face of it. But what does Katherine actually do? Where are they getting this money? I've got so many questions about this. According to an interview with Tony Robbins, yes, the famous Tony Robbins, which we've got a whole side piece of that. There's so much going on there. We've got Tony Robbins, Jim Caviezel. We've got so many people to discuss still. Like this just is never ending. There's so much to the story. If y'all could see the inside of my brain, it would be problematic. But Tony supposedly didn't know that Tim was going to be rescuing these children. And Tony supposedly went to their aftercare because that's what Tony's focus is. Now, remember, Tony Robbins is one of the best friends of Tim Ballard, who is also one of the biggest donors to OUR over the years, along with Glenn Beck and many other people. But Tony Robbins claims that he met these children at an aftercare facility. Where was this aftercare facility? And according to Tim, it was actually Tim's children that he was adopting that he met at this orphanage. However, they didn't, or aftercare place, excuse me. However, they didn't, there's no transparency about anything. As far as you know, they're legal. They busted an orphanage owner in a sizzle. Yeah. But that was all in Haiti too. And they also brought the Haitian government officials to America and gave them awards. That's a whole nother piece we're going to get into. But the governmental officials that they worked with in Haiti, that they were supposedly rescuing children under, one resigned shortly after OUR worked with them. And there was allegations of fraud and all sorts of stuff. So I got questions. And Mia Love, she has Haitian background or roots, and she was a part of some of this collaboration with Haiti. But they claim that not all the children came from Haiti, so where did all the other children come from? Again, it should not be that hard for a 501c to provide transparency of where these adoptions came from, how much money was actually spent, where all of it went. This is not hard to do. But they just keep being more shady as we keep going. Tony is silent. Tony is like silent. Who was given the money though? If the LDS Church was funding these adoptions, which has been stated by other people, why would OUR be fundraising on behalf of Children Need Families if the LDS Church was the one sending the money to these families? Do you see what I'm asking here? Yeah. Gardy, the search for Gardy Marty started all of this, which unfortunately, for those of you guys that don't know, Gardy's never been found. It's highly likely that Gardy was taken during a tropical storm and there's no information. Am I the only one that finds this to just be odd? There's so many red flags here. And the further you dig, the further you look, the more questions that you're left with. Every time I've tried asking directly for a statement on Children Need Families from these organizations. OUR ain't talking to nobody. First of all, they ain't talking to nobody. Right, Shannon? So many questions. There's just so many questions. And I'm going to go back to this again. When you try to search for Children Need Families, the CNF now, or the Children Need Families, what they've called it, right? It's a broken link on OUR's page. When you go search ProPublica for the 501c3 information to find, to track the money, right? We always follow the money. That's where you go. You follow the money, you follow the players, and you follow a timeline. That's how you unravel these stories. And unfortunately, in this one, the only time you start looking, the more questions you have. And just wait, we have a whole piece of it, because I bet many of you didn't know that Sean Reyes hired a private investigator to smear his opponent when he was running for office. And the private investigator actually came out and talked about it. And there was also allegations of Sean Reyes involved with strippers. Oh, shit. Didn't it just come out that Tim Ballard has been a frequent flyer at the same strip clubs that Sean Reyes was supposedly in? And there was also allegations of coke, like not Coca-Cola, but the Coke of Sean Reyes too. Sean Reyes has been really silent too recently. Absolutely, Autumn. Absolutely. They're like washing her hands. I actually asked Hidden True Crime when I was in her live stream the other day. I said, I would love, she's got a big, if you guys don't follow her, she's amazing. Autumn was in there the other night too. Lauren and Dr. John are wonderful. In fact, Dr. John brought up something that I have been sitting with for like 2 months since we started looking at the Sound of Freedom. And oh, Lorraine, what I'm thinking is, well, my hope is that this lawsuit is not settled, first of all, because I have a feeling they're going to try to settle this lawsuit. So the discovery process, because discovery process is going to open up Pandora's box. So I think that they're going to try to settle it every way, shape, or form. But I'm hopeful that they will not settle. They go to a jury trial, because a lot of times things like this, civil suits that open up discovery processes, allow that information to be gathered and then federal come in. So Utah, Davis County attorney, the Davis County attorney is the one that closed the investigation that was opened up into the fraud around OUR. However, the connections are so deep with all of that, that's not shocking. But we've got kids out here. We've got 223 children that they claim that they funded these adoptions for. Right? Shannon, there's so many questions around that, because the ProPublica, like the further you start looking, and that's why y'all, any eyes on this stuff, if you have time, if you like to research, please dig in and look, because this is where I need help from anybody and everybody, because there are so many deep, dark holes in the connecting pieces on this, but this really bothers me. So how many children were supposedly rescued from sex traffickers? They haven't never been transparent about that either. They've never been transparent. OUR has never been transparent about how many children were actually rescued. Were they actually rescued, or were they taken to be placed in families waiting in the U.S. for $20,000? What countries did these kids come from? I want to know. Jim Caviezel, he adopted children from China. Were Jim's ones that got grants? I would doubt it. I would hope not. And I don't need to know all these kids' background and everything like that, but there's so much illegal adoptions, and the fact that we can't even figure out where these children were placed. Pedro, probably you fit the bill, man. Yeah, absolutely. Sign on it. Sound like a prime candidate. Hookers and blow. You fit perfectly, huh? Y'all, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And then you look around and you see that they've, like, if you go back and listen to especially Tony Robbins interviews, which we're going to get into, I have spent hours and hours listening to these men, and it's just disturbing. But they claim that they were on a lot of these missions, these ops, right? But according to the lawsuit, they were basically acting like sex tourists, going to these other countries, going to strip clubs and massage parlors. So what really did they do? And where do these children come from? And Jessica Moss, where the hell are you? I thought we're supposed to be in charge of aftercare. Things aren't adding up, y'all. So let me guess, their aftercare program was adopting these children legally or illegally? We don't know. I'm just saying, we have no idea. Glenn Beck and the Nazarene Fund had very close inner workings with Tim, as we all know, but there is some stuff with Glenn talking about CNF and raising funds for CNF. However, I don't know how much further that went. Nobody will talk. Oh, Lorraine, Lynn is hands down. I have to just say this outwardly, full screen. If it wasn't for Lynn Packer, Y'all, he started his investigation over 3 years ago into this. Lynn Packer is one of the most factual, well-rounded journalists when it comes to stuff like that. People that are ex-Mormon or current Mormons don't tend to like him because he's no longer a Mormon. But when it comes to fact basis, that man has it laid out bit by bit. He has not covered the children and families aspect of it yet on YouTube. An American Crime Journal, which is Damian Moore, has not either. But that's the thing, is we can't even figure out where to start. Like, where do we start getting the factual information? Oh, Autumn, absolutely. Absolutely. And they changed one of their operations to Sage's Prayer, praying Sage or whatever, because of Tony's wife calling Tim or texting Tim when he was in the middle of this operation. Oh my God, he gave a whole speech on that shit too. And actually at an Air Force Academy in February. You can look at that video on YouTube. We're going to get into it too. And he claimed that, he wasn't his passport. He was having issues with his passport. So he was at the command center here on the ground, 2 a.m. He was rolling out in tears. I was like, what is the command center, the strip joint? Like, I mean, what the hell? Is anything transparent here? So all of these donors and these millions of dollars, we haven't even gotten into the money aspect of it and looked at that and shown you guys some of that. Some of you guys know. But the money aspect of this, there is millions of dollars here. Now we have 223 children. But in the end of, July of 2021, they said 110. But then by March of 2022, they're claiming 223 children, 145 grants. Who was actually funding this? Hey, Scorpio. I don't know. Something ain't adding up here. And I really have a problem with the whole, again, I have friends that were adopted into LDS families. A lot of them are amazing. So nothing against the families that adopted. Some of them could have been great. But what's the vetting process? How are they vetting the people to get these grants? How do we know how they selected these families? How do we know that the kids were actually legally adopted and they weren't trafficked? How do we check this stuff? How do we verify that what they're saying is accurate? Accurate. I can't talk. When they won't even tell us what countries they're supposedly adopting these children from. Haiti, we know that. In one interview, Tim says that they've been in over 20 countries. And another one, he says they've been in over 30. You would think that they'd have a list easily to go to. OUR is still fundraising over here, using other people's stories like the one we looked at the other day of a child needing life-saving medical treatment. But they have millions of dollars. Why aren't they funding it? But then you look further, and everybody that sat on the board of OUR was a family member of Tim Ballard. Not so much anymore, but they all were at once, or friends. So much is not making sense to me. So much of this. I don't know. I wanted to touch base with this part of it, though, because this piece has been driving me nuts. Because you cannot get answers from anybody. Nobody will be transparent about this. Not a single person. And everything that you find on Children Need Families is all fundraising promotion. It's all about fundraising. It's all about bringing in more money. What about the kids? And where's the oversight of these adoptions? Are they through legit agencies? They said that they worked with 7 agencies. What is that? Government agencies? Adoption agencies? Who? What? When? Where? Why? Are we going to find out in the discovery process? The math ain't mathin', right? Kind of reminds me of math. I don't know, y'all. And what qualified these people for a grant? Like, where are the qualifications? How did they apply for grants? Were they LDS families that went to their bishops and it wasn't an in-house like referral process? Because I can't even find anything that says like this is how you apply for a grant. Of course, they're scrubbing all the information right now. I don't know. Something's not working out here, but I wanted to talk about that right quick and just tell you where I'm at, because I know we've been discussing like some of this stuff around the adoption stuff, and Catherine's still standing by her man. Now, mind you, their 23-year-old son, his name's Blaine, he's an adult, was along with Tim on a lot of this stuff. He did serve a mission, but he went on some of these ops with them. We're going to get into that tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to read through the first 30 pages of the lawsuit. And then I'm going to read through some of the victim statements in part 2 of that, but not all of them because it's not appropriate. And there's also some stuff that I just don't feel comfortable saying or like telling. However, these are all available for you. I'll pull them up right quick and show you again. The lawsuit, let me go over here. The lawsuit is all available online. I paid for it, so we have access to it. There's multiple that have been filed now. I anticipate that there will probably be more that come out too. However, we're going to get through the first 30 pages because there's a lot of information in those first 30 pages that is very important. And there's all these like different things that they're highlighting. So I don't know. There is just a lot of math in here. A lot. The whole process. And adoption is not easy. For those of you that have had friends or you yourself have done an international adoption, it is extremely costly. It is extremely timely. Like it takes a long time a lot of times, especially if the child has any type of medical necessities or anything like that. There's a whole process behind it. And it's hundreds of thousands of dollars usually for some children to be adopted. But seems they got them down to $20,000 a child. Is that the going rate? I don't know, friends. Something ain't working out here, and the fact that a psychic medium was one of the tops of the CNF next to Katherine, the wife, I got issues. I got issues with all of it. Tell me what you think below. I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. I already made dinner. Between my last one and this one, I quickly made Taco Tuesday night. I made them tacos right quick so the kids are fed, but I am going to go relax for the evening and probably listen to 15 more videos because you guys saw my notes on my phone. I have a notepad with notes too. Every time I look, something doesn't add up. And then there's another high, powerful, influential name that's mixed into all of this, like Mia Love, for those of you that don't know. The Haitian officials that came over to Utah and were presented these awards. Like, what is going on here? Were those actual awards? Why did Sean Reyes get away with hiring a private investigator to smear his campaign opponent and still get elected in office? Oh, wait, it's because he smeared his opponents to the point that he was the only candidate left. Oh, okay. And you wonder why people are afraid to come out and talk about this group of people. And people are wondering why the victims were afraid for their safety. When you have high-ranking government officials LDS, high-ranking prophets. Speaking of that, President Nelson, the head of the Mormon Church, did a YouTube video today. I don't even understand. They are so heavy into like trying to do damage control right now. It's actually really funny, but I don't know. You guys tell me what you think if you made it this far with me. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you have any ideas of how to trace this and how to like where we should go and what we should be looking for, I would love to hear it. Any ideas, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you all joining me and allowing me to vent about my headache that has become OUR and all of its offshoots of timballard.com. Remember, go back to the whiteboard when you think you're getting confused. Go back to the whiteboard. And if you can't remember, we'll do a whole thing on it. The whiteboard, all of these 501c(s), including Glenn Beck's Nazarene Fund and all of these other ones, were supposedly leading to timballard.com. By the way, Tim didn't announce his Senate seat run. Do you think he will? Let me know in the comments below, y'all. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. If you haven't checked out Hidden True Crime, she's been doing a wonderful deep dive in a lot of this subject too. She actually was on with John DeLynn today. They were actually talking about one of the books that seemed to be really influential with a lot of these extreme behaviors within the LDS Mormon religion and outside. So if you haven't checked that out, go do that. John DeLynn, Mormon Stories podcast, and Lauren and Dr. John. Oh, what I was mentioning about Dr. John is he brought up the dark triad. That is something I've been wondering for so long. And to hear somebody else say it, I was like, oh. In my opinion, there's definitely some resemblances. If you don't know what the dark triad is, I encourage you to Google it and then compare interviews that you've seen with Tim to people that have been classified in the dark triad. You will be mind blown. I promise you. But with that, we will be back. And yeah, they need to pull this shit off the shelves. By the way, people don't even understand that Sound of Freedom wasn't the first movie. Operation Toussaint, The Abolitionist, all the books that Tim wrote. He's still raking in money off of these books and these movies and this bullshit. If you haven't watched Operation Toussaint, that's where all this stuff started, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's disturbing, to say the least, about how much bullshit has gone on and how much money has been funneled all around. But and Angel Studios has been really quiet too. They're just trying to move on around with some more religious hype type movies. So yeah, Lisa, they really do. They really do. Okay, y'all, good night.